The luxury industry has always thrived on a simple truth: humans crave validation. We hunger to feel important, admired, and distinct, and for over a century, luxury brands have turned that craving into a goldmine. But, 2025's mid-year reports from LVMH and Hermes don't just showcase impressive numbers, they're a masterclass in psychological warfare. What these brands sell isn't leather, silk, or craftsmanship. It's a carefully engineered illusion that has turned desire itself into a commodity worth billions. LVMH, the French powerhouse, pulled in 39.8 billion euros in revenue by mastering the art of accessible exclusivity, a paradox they've turned into a science. They've built an empire not on the superiority of their products, but on their ability to convince millions that a logo is a ladder to social ascension. Their strategy is simple yet devastatingly effective. Flood the market with attainable luxury through brands like Sephora and Fenty Beauty, grooming a generation of aspirational buyers who, once they climb the income ladder, graduate to Louis Vuitton handbags and Tag Heuer watches. It's a psychological funnel disguised as a retail empire. And their 22.6% operating margin proves that LVMH isn't just selling bags and perfumes. They're selling identity, confidence, and a sense of belonging at a premium markup. That 29% surge in free cash flow, even as overall revenue dipped 4%, exposes the brilliance of their model. Luxury's profit margins aren't dictated by the raw materials or production costs of goods. They're dictated by emotional value. A handbag that costs 200 euros to produce becomes a 3,000 euros trophy, because buyers aren't paying for leather, they're paying for status. For high net worth clients, price fluctuations and market turbulence are irrelevant. They're buying symbols of success in a world where perception outweighs reality. The decline in fashion and leather goods sales hasn't dented profits because the myth of Louis Vuitton's exclusivity hasn't cracked, and if anything, scarcity makes their customers hungrier. Then there's Hermes, the high priest of luxury manipulation. While LVMH casts a wide net, Hermes focuses on surgical precision. They've turned scarcity into a luxury product of its own, elevating their operating margin to an unprecedented 41.4%. Hermes generated 8 billion euros in revenue this year, not because of their bag's intrinsic value, but because they've perfected the art of gatekeeping. The legendary Birkin bag waiting list isn't about production limits. It's a psychological chokehold. Customers must prove loyalty, prestige, and even personality to be deemed worthy of spending tens of thousands of euros. This inversion of traditional commerce, making customers audition to hand over money, has created a cult-like following where owning Hermes is less about wealth and more about elite social signaling. So, the data tells the story in cultural hues. Hermes saw 16% growth in Japan, 17% in the Middle East, and consistent strength in the Americas. These aren't just random metrics. They actually reveal how deeply Hermes understands global social dynamics. In Japan, luxury items carry these subtle social cues tied to hierarchy and prestige, making exclusivity a really powerful currency. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, where wealth is both vast and visible, luxury goods function as markers of identity and accomplishment, and Hermes honestly exploits this dynamic flawlessly. Even in Asia's more turbulent economies, the brand just thrives, feeding on this aspirational psychology that, transcends borders. Hermes' 12% growth in leather goods isn't because the world suddenly values leather more highly, it's because Hermes has built a mythology so powerful that craftsmanship itself becomes a marketing tool. Sure, their artisans are highly skilled, but the 30,000 euros price tag on a Birkin isn't really tied to hours of labor. It's tied to how much the ultra-rich are willing to pay to, outdo their peers. The 10% growth in Hermes jewelry and home goods really underscores this point. Hermes can slap its name on a throw pillow, and buyers will pay thousands, not because of utility, but because ownership is proof of their social elevation. Meanwhile, LVMH's diversification strategy demonstrates a different brand of psychological engineering. Sephora's modest 2% growth isn't an accident. It's a deliberate move to make aspirational luxury feel attainable. That teenager buying a 30 euros lipstick isn't just purchasing makeup. She's buying a ticket into the fantasy of luxury. As she grows older, she'll graduate to Dior perfumes, Louis Vuitton bags, and Hublot watches, climbing the brand's invisible hierarchy. The watches and jewelry division, which remains flat despite economic headwinds, proves how deeply ingrained luxury symbolism has become. No one actually buys a 50,000 euros watch to tell time. They buy it to announce, "I am different. I am above." What's striking is the psychological sophistication behind these brands' operations. Hermes outperforms LVMH on margin not because it's more efficient, but because it has weaponized exclusivity. Their sales associates aren't mere employees. They're gatekeepers trained to make customers feel unworthy, then rewarded when they finally gain access. This scarcity-fueled desire drives Hermes's astronomical pricing power. LVMH, on the other hand, thrives by democratizing luxury just enough to keep aspirational buyers hooked, creating a steady conveyor belt of customers striving for the next level. Even Hermes's expansion plans through 2028 are meticulously designed to maintain the illusion. The brand is adding workshops not to flood the market with Birkin bags, but to control the drip feed of supply that keeps desire burning white-hot. Too much availability kills exclusivity, too little availability stunts growth. Hermes walks this razor's edge with surgical precision. These aren't mere business decisions, they're psychological chess moves. Both brands are proof that the luxury industry's most valuable asset isn't silk, leather, or diamonds. It's understanding the insecurities and ambitions of its customers. Luxury buyers don't pay for goods. They pay for what those goods whisper about them to others. That whisper is so powerful that it transcends economic downturns. Even in recessions, the ultra-wealthy keep buying, and the aspirational middle class keeps striving, because what luxury sells isn't optional. It's social armor. The darker truth is this: luxury brands have turned human desire into a scalable commodity. By blending marketing theater, strategic scarcity, and cultural psychology, companies like LVMH and Hermes create multi-billion-euro machines that thrive not by satisfying needs, but by manufacturing them. They prey on a universal fear of invisibility, making customers feel that their worth is woven into the stitching of a 3,000 euros handbag or engraved in the face of a 50,000 euros watch. So the next time you see a Birkin bag or a Louis Vuitton logo, know this: you're looking at the result of decades of psychological engineering. These aren't just brands, they're social scripts, dictating who belongs and who doesn't. And they're winning. If this breakdown opened your eyes, there's more where this came from. Subscribe for more deep dives into the corporations that manipulate your insecurities and profit from your attention. Share this with someone who swears their designer bag is all about quality.